All right. Okay. Really good.
I was in my bedroom primping because we were going to dinner at my minister's house. And I was in 6th grade. I was curling my bangs the way we used to with teasing it and hairspray. And I was listening to the radio, which I just recently discovered, and it was teaching me all about boys and girls. And I was excited because my minister had a son who was a year older than me. His name was Andy. And he had, I don't know, he had this way of looking at girls and smiling at them in a way that made you feel happy to be a girl. So we went over to their place for dinner, and after dinner all the adults just kind of assumed that I was his charge because we were the same age, and all the other kids were a lot younger. So he said, "Do you want to go out with me?" And I said, "Sure." So we went outside and jumped on the trampoline in the dark, and this guy jumped the fence, a friend of Andy's, and came over, and Andy said, "Liz called. She invited me over, so I think we should all go." So we started jumping fences and going through strangers' backyards to go to Liz's house, which was weird for me because I usually told my parents before I went places, and I usually used the sidewalk. And when we got there, I don't know what I was expecting, but Liz wasn't like particularly curvy, or, I mean, she was like thin with a girlish body, and I don't remember what her house looked like or walking down the hallway, which we must have done. I just remember being in Liz's room and there being a dark outline of bunk beds on one wall and a twin bed in the back and a child-sized table and chair in the center of the room. And the reason why I only remember the outlines is because the entire time we were in Liz's room, the door was closed and all the lights were off. Bottom bunk, Andy and Liz were laying down, totally making out. And the room was silent. The only sounds were them sucking face and rolling around. And I was just sitting there for, I don't know, half an hour, an hour. And I was thinking to myself, this is not how I thought dinner at the minister's house was going to go. And this is a strange way to entertain a guest. And we could really use a radio right about now. And the only thing to break the silence was every now and then Liz would stop and yell at Andy for touching her left hand. Now, I had a religion that told me what parts of myself were mine to keep or give away, but Liz had a code all her own, and somewhere along the line she decided that left hand was something sacred. And she was saving it, I don't know, for herself or someone else that wasn't him. So we were all sitting here and she was like, "Stop it, you're doing it again." And within 30 minutes or an hour, and I'm sitting there quietly not looking at anybody. And then there's Liz. "Stay the fuck away from my left hand."
I think we've all been there. Looking for love.
just as abruptly as Liz had invited him over, she decided she had her fill and she dismissed Andy. So 3 of us left and we traced our way back through strangers' backyards and over fences, back to my unsuspecting parents. And I don't know, I think a small part of me thought that he was a little pathetic, but mostly I just wanted him. I think I thought if I wanted him it would, I don't know, make me feel confident or powerful. I thought that I wanted to have him, but what I really wanted was to be her. I wanted to beckon desire. I wanted to entertain it in the dark. I wanted to be master of myself enough to choose what parts of myself to keep and what parts to give away. I just didn't know it then. So I pined after that guy for like 3 years until he was mine. He was my first serious boyfriend. But it was never like that night at Liz's house. His desire operated on his terms, not on mine. When we made out, it was with the lights on. And I always let him touch my left hand.